Madina, 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 Madina.
Assalamu alaikum viewers, my name is Afshan Khalid. Today inshallah ta'ala we are going to do two little topics. One is the treatment with children and one is the treatment with animals. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. As we all know that children are a source of joy. Children are a source of happiness, and children make your life comfortable. Little children make you happy. Their little gestures make us feel comfortable when they are around us. We will see that we have guidelines on how to treat children. Now, when I am talking about children here, we are going to talk about little children, and we will talk of children as per how we should be dealing with little children. These are school going children, these are children going to nursery, Montessori, these are little children reaching to the age of. Inshallah, today we will start with our first hadith, and in this hadith we see, this is narrated according to from Hazrat Aisha radiyallahu anha, and she says that a Bedouin came to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and said, "You kiss the boys, we don't kiss them." The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "I cannot put mercy in your heart after Allah has taken it away from it." This is in Sahih Bukhari. And reading this hadith, it shows that little children, that means they need to be hugged. We will start from here that little children, they need physical contact. And this is one of the reasons why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has kept breastfeeding for children, because this bodily contact with the mother and the child develops the bond of love. It develops the bond of caring and sharing, and of course with the natural nutrients that a child is given through the milk, that is besides the point right now. But what I am emphasizing right now is that the body contact is something which is a right of a child. And here in this hadith we see that Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam says that if Allah has taken away rahmah from you, then I cannot put mercy into you. That means hugging our little children is a sign of mercy, and Allah is merciful, and Allah wants to see us to show mercy to others, and especially children. In my other hadith, it is narrated by Hazrat Abu Huraira radiyallahu anhu, and Allah's messenger kissed Al-Hasan bin Ali while Al-Aqra bin Habis at-Tamim was sitting beside him. Al-Aqra said, "I have 10 children and I have never kissed any one of them." Allah's Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam cast a look at him and said, "Whoever is not merciful to others will not be treated mercifully." This is from Bukhari also. And what does this hadith show to us? That this man had 10 children and he said that I have never kissed any one of them. That means he did not have any body contact with the children as per if he could hug them or kiss them. And here we see that Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam says that whoever is not going to show signs of mercy to others, he is not going to be treated with mercy. In another instance we see that Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, as apart from how his dealings were with children, we also see that he had inaugurated the first welfare league for the children that was set up in Medina, and he inaugurated that. And that was of course for the welfare of the street children, of the children of the underprivileged. And the government by large had the duty to help the underprivileged, in which the orphans and the widows were covered naturally. And the great love that we see in Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is the way he has shown that no matter what, you cannot teach your children with strictness. Don't be strict with your children. Don't be hard with your children. You have to teach your children with love and affection. Why? Because these are just like little flowers that are just ready to blossom. And if you are going to crush it at a point where it was ready to blossom, you are going to lose the fragrance, you are going to lose the beauty of the flower. And this is my stress today on my talk, that we will see that somehow we see that children are maltreated, just probably because we think that we are more in authority, and just because we are parents and we can hit and beat our children when and whenever and in front of whoever we wish, and that's our right to beat them up because they didn't listen. But at the end of the day, we realize that we do not see that as the tarbiyat that Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam gave to the children that were around him. Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam had 6 children, 4 daughters and 2 sons, and of course the sons died at a very young age. But with the daughters that were from Hazrat Khatija radiallahu anha, and his amongst the daughters, most of us are more familiar with Hazrat Fatma radiallahu anha. We do not see that in the upbringing either Hazrat Khatija radiallahu anha was very hard or harsh or cruel with them, or on the other hand Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam himself. We see that there was a constant cooperation between the two, where they could bring the children out with their best abilities. And this is the job of the parents, to analyze that no 2 children are alike. And we see that sometimes children are bullied by the students in schools, but we also see that sometimes they are bullied by the teachers. They are picked up on the teachers, and they are unnecessarily remanded for things that they actually did not do. And this is against the teachings of our Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. We want to bring out results. We want to see our children bloom and blossom. So then we will have to give them the foundations of love and affection. If I am screaming myself, if I shout myself, if I tell lies myself, if I am injustice, if I am committing injustices around myself to other people, I am not transferring what my child needs to grow up with. There's this saying of a pious man. There was a lady who came to him and she visited, and she said that, give me tips to treat my child. How do I upbring my child? And he asked, how old is your child? She said, my child is 2 years old. He said, you are late. She said, why? He's just 2 years old. He said, no. The upbringing of a child begins when he is in the womb of the mother. You have missed that part. So as mothers, we need to check, what do I eat? What do I speak about? What do I converse about? How are my dealings? Because by the 6th month, as we all know, that a child is able to hear the sounds. So he is able to hear the mother. And these sounds do definitely make an impact on the personality. And according to the gist of a hadith, in which Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam has said that a child builds his personality. The first 3 years of the child, he has built up his personality up to 75%. The rest of the years is just the grooming. So if the mothers can exclusively give the first 3 years to the child, we will see a lot of daycares are open these days, and mothers are more prone to their career-oriented lives, and as soon as the child is born, they register them to the daycare centers, and then they go in the morning, they drop them, they pick them after 7-8 hours. Okay, fine, there may be genuine reasons for people to do that, for mothers to do that. But if you really want to see the outcome in children, you need to give these 3 years to your child. As per how to teach them to forgive others, as to how to teach them to be respectful to elders, how to be obedient at times when they are required to. At times the child needs to be taught how to be clean, how to keep himself clean, how to deal with his peers. He has to avoid the moments where he can indulge himself into wrong activities. You cannot be with your child 24/7, so you'll have to set up the norms while he is young, and you need to put the fear of Allah. You need to put the love of Allah first before putting the fear of Allah. Why? Because the children till puberty are not accountable. A lot of mothers, you will hear that they scare their children just by the fact that God is going to put you in hellfire if you do this, whereas the children are not even accountable. So we need to come up to the children with the love of Allah, that Allah is forgiving, Allah is merciful, and Allah loves children, and Allah likes to see you happy. And this is one point where we see that today, because we think that the life has become too fast and busy, so we think that children are too small to understand these things, so we stop treating them as a part of the society rather than we treat them as they are something who is too little to understand anything. No, it's not the case. And Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam would give special attention to children. Once there was, the Sahabas were forbidden that even in the times of war or battles, children are not going to be killed, just like women and old men and old members of the society and the hospitals and the churches and the other places of worship were eliminated from the fact that they will be taken under attacks during battles and worships, attacks of battles and wars. So it so happened that once there was a battle with the non-believers, and the Muslims by mistake happened to kill the children of the non-believers. And when this report came to Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he was angry. And he said that, how could you do that? They said, well, they were the children of the non-believers. Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, what if they were the children of the non-believers? You can still not kill the children of the non-believers, even during battles and wars. And today we see that apart from the adult members of the society, children are being targeted. Children are being maltreated. Children are becoming victim of trading. They are being picked up to be pushed into beggary, and they are pushed into prostitution, and they are picked up to become not an asset to the society, but to add to the crimes in the society. And may Allah save us all from this attitude. We see that first thing, like we spoke, that we need to have a physical contact with the children. We need to hug them. We need to caress them. We need to show them that we love them. And sometimes we as parents do realize that we love our children, but we don't express it. We don't tell our children that we love. Like in the cases of Hazrat Hassan and Hussain radiallahu anhum, Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam used to actually say that, oh Allah, I love them and you love them too. You need to express these little gestures where child can then inbuilt in him that yes, he is being loved. You will hear a lot of children complaining that we are not loved. How do they get this feeling in within them? So you need to express that you love your children. Of course, all that we do is for our children, and that is also a sign of love. But verbally to transmit that yes, you care and you love is something which will have more impact on the child's personality. Going forward, we see that Allah has kept a responsibility upon the parents as to the upbringing. And although the husband and the wife both are responsible in the upbringing of the children, but because mother's duty is to live at home, to take care of the house, to take care of the children, apart from fulfilling her other duties if so necessary, if she has to go out of the house, even then while she is home, she is more entitled to do the tarbiyat as compared to the father, although father is a part of this team. He leads the team also, but because mother is more into interaction with the children, so the responsibility lies with the mother more than the father, because the father's duty is to bring in the financial aspect, to take care of the financial side, to take care of the security and the safety of the family. And the mother's duty is to take care of the children as per their tarbiyat, as per their upbringing. If you will see in the case of Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam and Ismail alayhi salam, what was the reason that Hazrat Ismail alayhi salam was very willing to tell him that you can go ahead with your dream? You will find me patient. That was the tarbiyat of the mother. Hazrat Ibrahim did not used to live with them. He used to come rare. It was Hazrat Hajra's tarbiyat of Hazrat Ismail. Then we see that in this tarbiyat, the long impact is that why did we want to have children? What was the reason that we wanted to have children? The reason we wanted to have children was so that we can make sadqa jariya for ourselves, so that we have someone to follow the good trends that we have set for generations, because by every family there is going to be a trend of generation that will follow. What sort of generation would I want to leave where children can be my sadqa jariya? So I need to put up an effort on that. Yes, sometimes it so happens that we as parents try our best to inculcate the good habits in our children. We try to provide them the best of facilities as per to our disposal, but in return we do not see the same behavior from the children. We see that the children are not giving what we expected from them, but we still need to follow the guidance as that is set by our religion. Secondly, what we need to understand is that we will go back to Prophet Muhammad's teachings, and we see that even at the time of prayers, when there used to be children, Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam would shorten the prayer so that the mother does not feel burdened while she's standing in the prayer and her child is crying. So he would shorten the prayer. What does this mean? Children used to go for prayers. Normally what we tell our children is that, no, you don't need to go because you will go and make a fuss over there, and you will not let me do my ibadah, so I'd rather leave you. No, take your children. This is a month of Ramadan. Take your children with you for Taraweehs, where there is proper arrangement. But of course, when we take our children, we need to teach them. We need to teach them. We need to tell them what are the rights of that place. Where we are going, there are others, and we need to regard everybody with respect and to take care that we do not harm anybody by our tongues or by our hands. And the children, because sometimes mother, they take it for granted that they take them there so that they can spoil others' namaz and they are able to say their namaz, whereas the children are spoiling. No, we need to teach them at home in a very polite way, just the way Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam has taught us. You don't need to be aggressive, you don't need to be hitting and beating the children just to make them understand something, but you have to find those moments when the child is ready to understand and hear. He is ready to talk to you. Normally we try to impose our rules at the time of the action. That is not the time to correct the children. And mostly we try to correct in front of others, which makes the child embarrassed. And this is not a good sign to his personality. We need to wait till we are alone. We need to bear. Whatever has to be taught inside the house. It cannot be taught in public. Yes, unless there is a dire need to do so. If a child has picked up something from a shop, you need to correct it there and then. You cannot wait to get home while he has got the things with him and then you tell him that you shouldn't have picked it up. Similarly, children, in return to their parents, what they just need to realize is that children cannot do tarbiyat of the parents. Today we see very young children tell their parents right on their face, you don't know. You don't know anything. A child of 10 years old and 11 years old stands up and tells his mother, you don't know anything. Children cannot do the tarbiyat of their parents. This is not for them, that has been put on their shoulders. Yes, this tarbiyat was put on the shoulders of the parents, not the child. And similarly, as per the cooperation that is required between a husband and a wife, that is equally important. We can't expect that the mother plays the role, but the father neglects it. We can't expect the father to play the role, but the mother to neglect it. And one of the hikmas of nikah was, out of the 4 hikmats that are set for a nikah, the 4th hikmat was the cooperation between husband and wife in the upbringing of the children. If you look at if you look at our sisters who are widows, it's not easy to go out and earn money and at the same time upbring your child to the best of standards. It's by far not easy. So when Allah has given us a companion who can do so, and the companion for him, he should realize that the best charity begins from home. It can't be that he takes care of others, but he is unaware of what the needs of his children are. So the best charity out of the 4 dirhams, the best dirham that can be spared in charity, that begins from home. So as per the necessities of life, which are the basic requirements and the rights of every human, have to be provided. We talk about education. Yes, education is a requirement. Education needs finances. Yes, it needs to be done. But today, can we say that the education that the children are taking, is it also fulfilling the social needs? No, it's not fulfilling the social needs, but we see that the social evils are more in the limelight. Where is this coming from? The initial first 3 years of the child were his right. And if we are tending, and if we tend to leave our children on the maids and on the servants and on the drivers, and if we are tending to leave our children in daycares so that we can do our other, of course with genuine reasons it's okay, but if it is just because we cannot do it and someone else should do it for us, then we as parents need to think, where are we going? Is this what we require? And family is a sign of peace. A family is a bond. And as per accountability also, we are only going to be questioned about our family members. More than the brothers and sisters, it's the husband, wife and children who make a family. And once in a family bond, we need to realize that this is a liability which has been put on us. In a gist of a hadith in which Nabi says that each one of us has been made responsible for something or the other, and he is going to be questioned about it. Even a mother is going to be questioned. What did she do? This was her responsibility. Why do we see that the children have become so aggressive these days? Why do we see that the children are so demanding these days? Why do we see that there is so much indecency in the children today? Yes, the social media, the technology, yes, this is there, but we need to teach them the good and bad of these things also. It's not just about buying the latest gadgets to my child so that he can boast around his friends that he's got the latest iPhone and he's got the latest computer or laptop or MacBook, etc. But it's about setting values of these things also. What makes it valuable? It's the usage that is going to make it valuable. And if at all we are avoiding as my responsibility, I avoid it, then I am accountable for it. We see the gun race. Why is there a gun race in the society? We had never heard about this at our times, that there were guns in the universities. Where has this come from? That means the company our children are keeping, maybe we are ignoring that. Where is my child spending the time? Who is he going out with? Who is he spending time with? Do I know where he is? Do I worry where he is? And if I am worried, how do I transfer? How do I transfer my worries to my child? By constantly blaming him and complaining and being abusive and compelling him to the point of frustration that he doesn't want to come back to the house? Am I teaching him like that? Or am I teaching him with the ways our Prophet ﷺ has taught us, that we have to teach our children with love and affection? And the utmost beating that can be recorded in Islam is the beating with a miswak. And how far can you beat with a miswak? Miswak is just a little stick that cannot bring bruises and that cannot bring scars on a body. And we see that in a lot of schools, children have actually died just because they were beaten up for not doing their homework. This was not the teaching of Islam. This was not the teaching of our Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. Nabi ﷺ would keep his hand. This person came to Nabi ﷺ and he said that my heart is very hard. What should I do to make it soft? Nabi ﷺ said, keep your hand over the head of an orphan. You see, this physical touch of an orphan softens the heart. Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, every time he would pass through the streets, he would pick up children, put them on the donkey cart and give them round of the city. He would take them out of the city and bring them back. If a child, if Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam would keep his hand over a child, anybody who would meet the child could tell that Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam has kept his hand over the child. And he would be smiling with the children. We normally tend to get a little hard that we can't share jokes with our children. No, you need to be light mood with your children. They should be confident enough to come up to you to tell them they have done something wrong. Let this barrier of communication not widen. Let that bridge be there that they can come up to you rather than going to someone else. Even if they have failed in their exams. We hear cases where children have, the rate of suicide has increased. We see that children are committing suicide just because they cannot go home and tell their parents that they have failed. Well, is that all that we were looking for? No. There are successes in life and there are losses in life. These are the different kinds of tests that Allah has set for every one of us. But for me, my child is an asset. I want him to be my Sadqa Jariya, and to make him my Sadqa Jariya, I will have to give him in return that he is able to come back to me. A lot of children run away when their fathers come home. Why? Why can't they communicate to their fathers? A lot of children don't like to be around their mothers because they think they are nagging all the time. No, mothers are not nagging. Mothers can change their strategy that they are out of this nag and they are more like, and mind you that we as parents can never become friends to our children. Parents are not friends. This is probably where we have broken the barrier of respect. The child thinks that my parents are my friend, so now I don't need to respect them. Children, inshallah, in one of our next programs, we will see the responsibilities that are set on the children. But today, my topic, since it is towards the children, so we are going to talk of the weaknesses that we may be showing towards our children, because we feel that we are in a higher authority as compared to our children. So we can indulge in even the wrong ways to try to bring about rules that we have set in the house. I can set rules for myself, but when we are living in a company, when we are living in joint families, we need to give that margin. We need to give that margin for others to breathe. We need to build that sense that we all care for one another. We will support one another. Of course, we will not support one another in times of crime and evil, but we will support one another in times of good. We are there for you, and the child should be able to come back to us. Why do we see that children, once they decide they want to do something, and then we see that the parents take over and they say, no, you can't do this, but you have to do this. Why? Because I'm saying so. No. From the age that they are reaching puberty, they are going to enter a life which is adolescent, and then they are going to reach a life where they will be an adult. But this is the time to give them to feel the responsibility of making their own decisions. For as long as we are making decisions for them, they are dependent. We are making them dependent on other things. We are making them dependent on things which they should have been doing themselves. This is why a child loses that confidence of taking bigger decisions in life, and he cannot decide whether he should select this subject or that. It's because mothers are sitting and doing the homework for the children. Mothers are preparing for the test, mothers are preparing for the essays, or they are hiring tutors to do it for them. So they are not feeling that sense of responsibility. The sense of responsibility has to be put in from the childhood. Inshallah, we are going to continue this topic in one of our later sessions when we will be talking about the treatment with parents. And so with this today, we end our program, and may we make a wish, may we all pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that this month of Ramadan we are able to act upon what we learn.
Medina, Medina, Medina.